Champ Cars came to Portland International Raceway in 2003, there was plenty of action on and sometimes off the race course. As the series returns to PIR, a few questions come to mind. Could Ryan Hunter-Reay's dominating win in Milwaukee and great finishes from Jimmy Vasser and A.J. Allmendinger signal an American resurgence in open-wheel racing? Will the reigning series champion Paul Tracy finally get back on track and make a run at repeating his title? Or will current points leader Bruno Junqueira score his first win of the year? Once again, every Champ Car racer will push himself to the edge. Who will bag the checkered flag in Portland? Today, Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford. 2 weeks ago, under the lights on the venerable Milwaukee Mile, one of the most dominant races ever put together by a Champ Car driver and team. Young Ryan Hunter-Reay out of Florida sat on the pole and led all 250 miles to bag his second career victory. It was as dominating a performance as has been seen in more than 12 seasons on the Champ Car Trail. This is the fourth stop of the 2004 Champ Car World Series Trail. The series opened in Long Beach, California, then to Monterey, Mexico, and Milwaukee. Today, we're in the Rose City of Portland, Oregon. It's been a beautiful week here, unseasonably warm for this time of year. The kids are out of school, they're enjoying the water, and of course the beautiful scenery. This is the Rose City, a very popular vacation destination in the Pacific Northwest. Tremendously beautiful Mount Hood in the background, providing a backdrop for our activities here this week. They've fired the 18 Champ Cars on their pace laps, ready to go for the Champ Car Grand Prix of Portland. This has been a track this series has come to for 2 decades, going back to 1984. This is the 21st renewal of this great event. It's been the scene of some outstanding runs to the checkered flag. Let's show you just a couple of them. First of all, at Portland, back some 18 years ago on Father's Day. Michael Andretti in that 18 car, just barely hanging on. His dad Mario trying to steal the win from him at the line. Michael was able to nurse the Kraco car over the stripe first and bag a victory here at Portland. Then 11 years later, 1997, Mark Blundell just hanging on against Gilles de Ferran. Blundell, one of his 2 Champ Car victories, came here at Portland. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. Welcome to Portland International Raceway, where they've been coming here to race Champ Cars for now 21 years. We're in Victory Lane, where all of these great stars would like to end up at the close of the afternoon for a swig of the Victory Champagne, the beautiful trophy, and the dozen roses traditionally awarded the winner here in the Rose City. This is a difficult track. It's nearly 2 miles around, 12 turns. There are a couple of pretty treacherous places. Maybe the worst and most dangerous, the festival curves, the first 1, 2, 3 turns at the end of the front straightaway. There's a lot of passing there. There's also been a lot of action there over the course of the past 2 decades. Let's get a look at our Bridgestone keys of the race. Here's Tommy Kendall.
Turn 1 and 2 at Portland International Raceway are called the festival curves, which is more than a little bit of a misnomer because festival infers party and then everybody's having a good time. Here, it should be called the morning after curves because it often looks like the morning after at a fraternity party. Littered bodies and hangovers everywhere, especially on lap 1. The problem is, top of 7th gear, 185 miles an hour down the straightaway. This corner here is more than 90 degrees. It's a lot like turning into your driveway. It's tough enough when you're by yourself in one of these machines, but when you start 2x2, you have the adrenaline pumping like it is at the start, and more often than not, it looks like a parking lot. So the guys that balance that aggression well will get through here. The place to use it is at the other end of the track. At the end of the back straightaway at Portland is turn 8. And while aggression will get you in big trouble in the festival corners, it's rewarded here with lower lap times and higher speeds. Ask the drivers to a man, they will say, this is the kind of corner the Champ Cars were made for. Wicked fast. The braver you are, the quicker you go. The curbs are a big part of that. In Monterey, Mexico, they had to stay out from where they damaged the car. Here, you use every bit of them and then some. It won't be 6 inches or a foot. They will have the whole car up on this curb. One of the great sights all year is watching the Champ Cars climb the curb in turn 8. The person that balances the aggression of this end of the track with a little patience at that end will be in good shape.
All right, let's take a look at our starting lineup today, powered by Ford. The Newman Haas mates on the front row.
Well, Bruno Junqueira raised everyone's eyebrows, including his teammate, by guaranteeing he would lead lap 1.
Second row, Tracy and Wilson.
Paul Tracy, never one to let that kind of controversy go unnoticed, has been picking the scab.
Third row today, A.J. Allmendinger, who had a great run at Milwaukee and Dominguez.
And that top 5 was a big boost to his confidence, and this is the kind of track he has been breathtaking in turn 8.
Fourth row, Alex Tagliani, Michelle Jourdain side by side.
Yeah, and Tagliani, remember the charge he put on in the opening laps down in Monterrey, Mexico.
Take a look at row 5. American hope Jimmy Vasser setting a milestone today with Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Yeah, he's tying Mario Andretti on the career start list, so big company for Jimmy Vasser.
In row 6, Gonzalez from Mexico and Rodolfo Levine, his countryman.
Now, Gonzalez qualifying within a tenth of a second of the much more experienced Jimmy Vasser, so a good run for him.
7th row, Carpentier has dug himself a big hole.
Yeah, he has. He did actually not take part in yesterday's qualifying because of a gearbox problem, anxious to get up front to protect that points.
In the next row, the 8th row, Haberfeld and Gaston Mazzacani.
And Haberfeld driving one of only 2 Reynards in the field. This is theoretically one of the better tracks for it, but he's been struggling.
Final row, Spirifico and Nelson Felipe.
Nelson Felipe, of course, the 17-year-old, but at the back of the field.
All right, A.J. Allmendinger, the rest of the field lining up. Safety car has the lights turned off, getting ready to funnel down through turns 11 and 12 and dump onto the front straightaway. We've got 3 different in-car looks. We'll get a great view from Ryan Hunter-Reay's race car.
And Hunter-Reay starting back further. They've been pretty good, except for when it counted during qualifying was the quickest. Now, this is looking out the back of Junqueras. That's Paul Tracy right up next to him. Here they come out. This is actually in the final corner.
We'll also take a ride today with the British rookie Justin Wilson, who qualified well. He starts in the 4th spot. Pace cars headed to pit road. Glad to have you with us, and here we go.
That's Junqueras on the right with the white nose. See Tagliani way down on the inside next to A.J. Allmendinger.
4 wide into 1. Oh, contact. I think he got that car. That's Jourdain going up over into the dirt. Only 1 car damaged.
Yeah, not too bad. They got lucky. It'll be interesting to see. Bourdais beat Junqueras to turn 1, but
full course caution.
Full course caution. So that car is stuck in the gravel.
So Michel Jourdain Jr., who really had a breakout season a year ago, gesturing quickly, wants a toe out of the dirt so that he can get refired. Here they go again, and Tommy, look at this, 4-5 wide. Brake lock up.
Yeah, we see some brake lock up. I think it was one of the Herdez cars. I'm pretty sure that was Hunter-Reay who got into Jourdain.
One more look as they came to the green flag. Look at Tagliani dive into the bottom.
Yeah, he had Allmendinger trying to squeeze him off there. Finally left him just enough room. That's Jourdain on the far right of your screen with the red nose. A little squeeze play there. Hunter-Reay was squeezed between the 2 cars on the inside. Or actually, that might have been Dominguez. It's hard to tell which Herdez car that was. But you have 4 cars funneling together, and I think the Herdez car moved to the left to give the 2 cars on the right a little room and got into Jourdain.
Well, they put the pin through the roll hoop to pull the car out with a strap. As we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, the festival curves, something we see all the time at the start of the race. 1992. Take a look, I believe that'd be from Bobby Rahal's car.
Now watch this. It's a few years later, 98. That's Greg Moore climbing over the top. And
just 2 years ago, several cars didn't even make the turn there.
And there's nothing more frustrating than, you spend a whole weekend here and your race lasts 100 yards or so.
All right, so Michel Jourdain is on the hook. They're under caution. Jan Bikas.
Well, this is not the time of the race we would normally talk about pit windows, but believe it or not, the pit window is already open. What I mean by that, it's a 94-lap race, and under usual circumstances, you could make this race distance in 2 stops. But that's if you had your own choice. You don't have your own choice. Today, they must stop 3 times on pit road under green, so they won't stop now. But if you so choose, you could come in now and still have enough time to make your final 2 stops. The good news, that means it's a wide open window as far as pit strategy for the teams. And here in Portland in the past, some of the best races have been when people have been on different strategies. Now, for a Father's Day update, let's get down the pit road to Chris McClure.
Well, there are dads of many young racing lions dotted up and down this pit road, including Greg Allmendinger right here. You told me a moment ago you do get the butterflies.
Oh, yes, I do. I always have when he climbs in the car. It's just something that comes, that I can't get rid of.
A lot of people look to honor their father. What would AJ do to honor you, or have you asked anything? Do you expect anything?
No, he got me a ride in the 2-seater, so that was pretty cool. That was good enough, man. I just hope for a good, safe race, and other than that, not a whole lot.
Pick a word: fun or scary in the 2-seater?
It was fun, real fun, very fun.
Well, congratulations on Father's Day and a great young racing son.
Thank you very much.
Rick?
All right, Greg Allmendinger hoping his son will put together a great run. Let's ride with Ryan Hunter-Reay. Watch the left of your screen here. He started in the 10th spot, and you could just see Jourdain's car catch air.
Yeah, so it was the other Herdez car just to the left of Hunter Ray, his teammate, which is Mario Dominguez. And so there was a squeeze going on between these two cars and Dominguez. Dominguez moved left to give Allmendinger and Hunter Ray a little room and just clipped the rear of Jourdain's.
And this is Ryan Hunter-Reay's live helmet camera. Michel Jourdain stopping early. Chris McClure.
He is in the pit, and this looks like a routine pit stop. There appears to be absolutely no damage to the car. There were no adjustments made. 4 tires and fuel, and so he was already in the window. Unfortunately, he does not have it under a green flag, so he still owes 3 green flag stops to the race, but the car's okay.
He had to stop, though, to check the car out.
Yeah, but even more unfortunate is the fact that he was a lap down. That's why he was waving, so he had a pretty good idea that his car was probably okay. So if they could have gotten him out of the gravel and refired before the field came around, it really wouldn't have cost him that much. It would have cost him the positions from where he qualified to the back. But being a lap down is really hard to undo.
So Michel Jourdain back on the button in the 9 car, but he has a long way to go as he has dropped a lap. Quickly, Dion Beekes.
Just an update on Hunter Ray. His car is fine, has radioed in no problem other than the fact that the drink bottle has come loose. Normally not a big deal, but on a hot day like today, might be a problem at the end of the race.
You certainly want to be hydrated.
Oh, boy, that's that. Well, there's something that was going on in Monterrey, Mexico that I found out about. A lot of the guys were going to the Champ Car medical trailer and saying that they had picked up a bug or something, and they were getting IVs before the race. Kind of a harmless form of doping, but so hydration is a big key here.
Oh, trouble. One car sideways as we come to the restart. One of the Herdez cars, contact with Rodolfo Levine's machine. Car spinning down the front straightaway as we try to restart. Here at Portland, Levine's car heavily damaged. One of the Herdez cars, I guess that would be Ryan Hunter-Reay's car.
No, that was Dominguez, right? And we were looking from Ryan's car, and Dominguez.
That's right.
Save fuel, stay out.
Heavily damaged Herdez car. That would be Dominguez in the 55, who had a good starting spot here today. And 5th in the standings, the season championship standings coming in. Dominguez on the outside of the 3rd row, Rodolfo Levine, who's been so impressive.
Yeah, and that was just an innocent bystander in terms of Rodolfo Levine getting clipped by Dominguez. But we're going to, I think, get another look at this.
That would be an incident of cold tires, I imagine.
Cold tires and the boost coming on. That's clearly what that is. The first of the Herdez, the green and white cars right behind the yellow car of Allmendinger. See, he's fighting it all the way.
Squirrely, yeah. Locks the brakes down, but then the car rolls backwards.
He let off the brakes, and that's where he clipped Levine.
Wow. So a lot of debris scattered down the front straightaway. 2 cars heavily damaged. Our second incident, we haven't put 1 green flag lap on the board here this afternoon.
Yes.
Another look as we take a look back down the front straightaway. And there you can see the 55 of Mario Dominguez, the second Herdez car going around. One of the Forsyth cars, the Corona Beer car, Rodolfo Levine, getting tagged, and that car heavily damaged as well. We've got an onboard look at this for you. Ryan Hunter-Reay's view as they came to the flag.
See Hunter Ray dialing in some opposite lock, experiencing the same wheel spin. You can see the hands starting to jitter. Which way do I go? Which way do I go? The rule there generally is you aim for the wreck, and generally speaking, the wreck will be gone by the time you get there. He was close enough to be in for the open spot, the outside.
Yeah, because a lot of damage to those race cars.
Indeed. We are with Tom Brown, who makes the calls for Mario Dominguez. You've just seen the replays. Did he say anything on the radio?
No, the green was thrown pretty early, and the guys all went for it. We just lost it and spun out backwards and reversed into a couple of guys. So, not good.
Now, he had the start at green, so therefore you would assume he had tire temperature. You're on the alternate tires, which should have a lot of grip, just in case it's just too quick too soon.
Looks like it, yep. We're on the alternate tires, the soft tires. We just looped it and lost it. The green was thrown pretty early, and of course we got to go for it, land on it. And we just lost it.
Is he okay?
He's okay.
Great. Well, sorry your day ended early.
Thanks.
Mario Dominguez walking back, that long walk back to the paddock area, waving to the fans here at Portland. His day very short, as was Rodolfo Levine's. More to come. Some green flag racing. Plenty of action along pit road as well. We'll be watching Justin Wilson come up through the field. We'll meet our featured driver this week, Ryan Hunter-Reay, who bagged his first win of the season 2 weeks ago, and our lifestyle reporter. Plenty more with Bronte Tagliani. At Portland International Raceway, the Champ Car World Series. 5 laps complete, but they've all been under caution. First lap incident of the festival curves, and then a moment ago as they came to the restart, 2 cars, Tommy.
Yeah, big pileup, and I think it's usually you worry about tire temperature in the cold conditions. Here, with it being this hot, it might have slipped Mario's mind. They didn't have any green running before that restart, so clearly there wasn't enough temperature to take the power that he fed in. The early green flag led to that a little bit. He wasn't on the straightaway; was still in the corner when the green came out.
So Mario Dominguez and Rodolfo Levine behind the wall. Jan Bikus with Mario Dominguez.
And Mario, we just saw that replay. Tell us what happened. Obviously, you were trying to get a good exit off the final corner.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate. Really, we had a good car. Team Meredith gave me a great car this weekend, and my best start in Portland ever. And coming off on the straight, just got too much power down, got too much wheel spin, and all of a sudden the car just turned around on me, and it's really unfortunate. I think we could have gotten a really good result out of this race, and not finishing like this, I think we're going to lose a lot of points. It's too bad, but I guess we just have to work better for the next time. And I'm sorry for the team because they made a great effort this weekend.
Did you feel as though you had tire temperature at that point? You hadn't had a lot of running. Did you feel as though they had come up to pressure and temperature?
Well, not quite there yet. I mean, I guess obviously it was a result of having the cold tires, but I guess the same for everybody, no? And I was the only one that spun it. I'm sorry for the team, really. I'll try to make it up next time.
Also sorry for Rodolfo Levine, who's with Chris McClure.
Rodolfo, first, the important question, you're all right.
Yeah, I'm okay.
What happened out there? What was your perspective of it?
It was just, was the restart of the race, was the third, fourth lap, I believe. Just in the restart, just putting the power down everybody. One of the hardest cars spun in front, and just didn't have any place to go. He went over the line. Just one side I had the wall, the other side was the car, so I just couldn't avoid it. I clipped my rear tire with his I believe his front tire, and didn't do any good.
Sorry the day had to end this way.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's we've been doing okay, and it's a shame. Still many races to go, and hopefully we can do much better on the next ones.
Good luck.
Thanks.
You can hear the disappointment in his voice.
Yeah, and that's something where he was the guy that you pick a spot and you go and the hole closes. Part of that was, I think, Dominguez let his foot off the brake, maybe trying to keep the engine running, but he rolled back and just he almost got through it and just clipped the rear as he was going by.
We have seen a lot of action here at Portland for many, many years. Let's take you back and show you some of the more violent incidents. This is 1985 on the backside of the racetrack. Couple of cars tangling and finding the wall. One of the Valvoline goes like Al Unser Jr. there. 1986. Danny Sullivan in the Miller Beer car.
Michael Andretti turning Danny Sullivan. That's a tough one. This is
96, a frightening moment here.
Paul Tracy.
He's very familiar with the tire barriers. A year later in the rain in 97. Just an indication of what you can see here at Portland International Raceway. We've seen a lot, haven't run a green flag lap yet.
Yeah, and the pit windows, to explain that a little bit, when we say the window opens, what you do is you take a tank of fuel, and if a car can go 29, 30, 31 laps, you work backwards from the end of the race. And in the increments of that, with 3 to go, you would say if it's 30 laps, 90 laps from the end, the window opens to make it on only 2 more stops. So whenever we say that, that's what we're talking about.
But since we've been all under caution here, a couple of cars have come down pit road to get looked at, specifically the car of Michel Jourdain. No one's been able to make one of their 3 green flag stops so far. Lining them back up, Junqueira pulls up alongside Sebastian Bourdais. Now he'll tuck in behind as we get ready for the 3rd attempt at a green flag lap. Final corner, back to the front straightaway. This will be lap number 8 at Portland.
I'm not sure if that guarantee that Bruno issued was money back or not. We're going to maybe give him a little bit of slack because the yellow came out halfway around the lap.
Single file this time. Everyone tiptoeing down into one. Here's Tagliani, though, trying to make a move on Justin Wilson. Can't get the deal closed. Going for 4th.
Tagliani, much like Monterrey, Mexico, he made up 3 spots on that opening lap, and now he wants a piece of Wilson.
Out the back end of Justin Wilson's MyJack, number 34. Running the Lola here this weekend for Eric Bachelard's team. A little loose there.
Yeah, this infield, it's slick, and it will get slicker as the heat beats into that asphalt. Get some miles on these tires, whether you're on the soft one or the hard one, especially this corner right here. That's where Paul Tracy lost it in qualifying. The back end starts to go. You want to stay with it because that's what gives you a good shot down the straightaway. But by the end of this thing, these guys, the rear tires they'll be hanging on by a thread.
Quick look off the back of the Pacific Care Newman Haas car. Junqueira riding second behind his teammate Sebastian Bourdais. There's Tracy third. And Justin Wilson in fourth. Now it's Tagliani with a good move to fifth in the early going here. Down into the festival corners. That's Allmendinger. And Carpentier quickly to pit road. Jan Beekes is there.
And we talked about alternate tires, and we talked about alternate strategies. This is what you do. Remember, we interviewed him prior to the race, and he said that they will try to roll the dice. Let's get down to Jourdain.
Well, Michel Jourdain is in for the second time in the event. Again, 4 tires and fuel. Very short fill on the fuel because he didn't burn much off during that yellow. But now he's back in sequence in terms of green flag pit stops. That's why they were coming in at this point.
Well, Jourdain scored 16th now, a lap down. Dominguez and Levine getting credit for 7 laps, and they are behind the wall. So Jourdain with a long afternoon ahead of him here.
And that being a lap down, it's going to be interesting to see how much actual green flag distance it costs you. It looks like it's going to be more than half a lap. I was going to say that raises the possibility you could have a guy like Jourdain maybe do 2 stops under green and do the rest of his ones under yellow and try to get that lap back. But he's really got a long ways to go. As you see, Allmendinger, he lost that spot to Tagliani in the initial start. You saw him squeeze him over against the pit wall. It looks like he feels like he's faster than Tagliani, wants to show him his nose to see if he can't get him to break a little bit too late into the festival. You do stuff like that. He wasn't really making an attempt to pass, but just trying to show himself in Tagliani's mirrors.
Tagliani in the Johnson Controls Rocket Sports entry runs in 5th spot now. Allmendinger shuffled back to 6th position. Justin Wilson there in 4th. The battle for 5th, one of the best on the racetrack here at Portland International Raceway. Finally green now on lap 10. Just starting lap 15 at Portland International Raceway, the Champ Car World Series, the Champ Car Grand Prix of Portland with Tommy Kendall, I'm Rick Benjamin. Jan Beekes on pit road, joined today by Chris McClure. Watching race leader Sebastian Bourdais, who's got more than a second gap over his teammate Bruno Junqueira.
But the top 3 cars are all running in the a minute, 1 second, 0.5, 0.6 range. So those 3 guys are all running, I believe, the alternate tires. So the thing that I'm looking for here is to see if these guys, if their times fall off towards the end of this fuel load.
Take a look at Jimmy Vasser in the Gulfstream PKV Lola. That is car number 12. Vasser on Father's Day. His dad, Jim, and one of his big supporters. Jimmy's moved up to 8th spot and moves past Mario Andretti for 5th all-time on the Champ Car Grand Prix, Champ Car World Series list of consecutive starts. 187, I believe it is today.
I think it's over 200.
It's over 200 now. The record, I know, is well over 200. There it is. As we take a look, Jimmy and Mario at 208 now. Tied for 5th with the great Mario Andretti. Michael leads with 309 starts in the series. And Al Jr., Bobby Rahal, Paul Tracy moving up the charts with every week. And Jimmy Vasser just a few races behind. And Jimmy with a good start here today. Moved up a couple of spots in that initial shuffle with the 2 cautions.
And this team is slowly pulling themselves up to the top of the grid. At one point in practice yesterday morning, the PKV cars were 1-2. I happened to be standing with Kevin Kalkoven, one of the 3 partners in that team, and he says, I want a picture of that. So they snapped a quick digital photo of the timing screen. He says, I know it probably won't last, but he says we're starting to inch towards the front. And Jimmy is a big part of that. Jimmy is in a situation where he feels like he has what he needs in terms of the resources. It's just a matter of getting everyone gelled together. And he's taken a much more active role this year than he did last year. Last year, I got the idea he gave his effort in the car, but he felt like it was just too big a mountain to climb. The team he was with just didn't have the resources.
They've got a good teammate. Roberto Gonzalez has shown some strength. And here's Vasser deciding on an early green flag pit stop. Chris McClure, Jimmy Vasser's headed your way.
He's on pit road as we look for his arrival. He's 100 yards away, but approaching quickly. Everybody's laid out and ready to go. An early green flag pit stop, a little earlier than the contenders, quite obviously, but they have to get 3 in. They are now up on the jacks. The 4 tires are going on, and we see no adjustments at the front. Everything's done, and away he goes. A nice, crisp pit stop for Jimmy Vasser. Out of sequence a little bit, but ready to roll.
Shuffles Jimmy back to 14th in the running order, but stopping here on lap 16 gives him a great shot, I would think, toward the end of the race.
Well, what the gamble here is that you get a yellow between now and when the guys that are leading the race stop. If you do that, they can't come in to make their stop while the yellow's out. So all the gap that they have between where they're out on the track and now all goes away. When they pit under green, they're going to be around behind Jimmy.
So Vassar back on the button. Sebastian Bourdais, meantime, in the McDonald's number 2, has led all the way through a couple of starts that resulted in quick caution flags. Bourdais looks as dominant as he was in Monterrey, Mexico, Tom.
Yeah, and to one final note on that strategy, if it stays green, everything cancels out. And it ends up being a better strategy, which is what Bourdais is employing. It's riskier to do it that way because you need a yellow at the right time. If there's no yellows, this is the quicker way to do it.
So Sebastian Bourdais has built himself a 1.7 second lead here at Portland over his teammate Bruno Junqueira in the Pacificair car. On this Father's Day at Portland International Raceway, Sebastian Bourdais trying to gift wrap a gift for his dad, building the lead to 2 seconds now over his teammate Bruno Junqueira. Hasn't put a wheel wrong here, but it's early, Tommy Kendall.
Yeah, and this is what we've seen from Bourdais a lot. When he gets out in front with no problems whatsoever, he tends to be flawless.
3 wins last year, his rookie season in the Champ Car World Series. Bruno Junqueira threw that challenge down and said, hey, I'm going to lead the first lap. Well, 2 quick cautions blew that out of the water pretty much, but Bruno hasn't been able to get very close to him. Take a look at Ryan Hunter-Reay now. He has pitted a moment ago. Jan Beekes, they decided to bring the 4 car in early.
They did. It was only an 8.3 second pit stop, and they decided to take the alternate tires off and go with a second set of standard. So it is going to be changing from team to team. Some will obviously come in and try and run maybe just one set of alternates. Some will try and run both if they have any left after qualifying.
And that pit stop put Ryan Hunter-Reay back in 13th position behind Nelson Philippe, who's moved up nicely. He's up to 12th right now with 21 laps on the board. Well, Ryan Hunter-Reay is our featured driver this week after that stunning performance he put on 2 weeks ago under the lights at the Milwaukee Mile, leading every lap from the pole. Let's take a look and ride full throttle with Ryan Hunter-Reay. So a lap around Portland International Raceway with Ryan Hunter-Reay on board the Urdez number 4, the winner at Milwaukee. Hunter-Reay, after that early stop, back in 12th position. He's a young driver, won his first race a year ago in Australia. He's from Florida. We sent Bronte Tagliani there to find out more about Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Scuba diving, snorkeling, and racing cars. That's a pretty interesting lifestyle. Let's spend a little more time with Ryan Hunter-Reay. So I noticed that you have a friend up there behind you.
This is Woody. He wants to be in the camera more than I do. I'm a pretty laid-back guy. I mean, for racing cars, it's not the usual thing, but I am pretty laid back. I love South Florida, the sun and the water. Like I said, I'm always in the water.
So this is it, where you like to go scuba diving?
This is my spot, actually. This is it's perfect because it's not too deep, not too shallow, and it's good to do snorkeling or scuba diving. So I think we'll do a bit of both. You want to go in? Put our stuff on?
I'm ready to go. I got my flippers on.
Let's go.
Wish me luck. What type of fish do you see when you're under the water in Florida?
Oh, there's a lot, really.
I can see a lot of fish down there. Just as long as the big ones stay away from me, it's all good.
I have the highest expectations expectations of Nordez. I mean, the team's great. I expect huge things out of this team, out of myself, and it's for sure there's no reason why we shouldn't be on the podium every race, at least one of our cars. With this team, I love all the guys. They're all great. They know that I appreciate their work, and that I'm going to go out there and drive my best for them. It's a good team. It's getting ready to make that next step.
The winner, Ryan Hunter-Reay. So Ryan Hunter-Reay and his team, as we jump on his helmet, take a look out the visor cam on the front straightaway. They need to get the whip out, that early pit stop strategy, Tommy Kendall, to try to get some track position later in the day.
Well, it looks like while the front three guys are streaking away on the alternate tires, he said beforehand they've had trouble making them work. At Long Beach was when we ran them before, and they wanted to get them, it looks like, off the car as quickly as possible.
So Ryan Hunter-Reay with a little different strategy today. Needs a good finish here at Portland to try to move up in the Champ Car World Series point standings. 26 laps are complete at Portland. Bruno Junqueira continuing to run in second position here at Portland International Raceway. The Champ Car Grand Prix of Portland. With Tommy Kendall, I'm Rick Benjamin. We're hearing that the leaders are thinking of coming in here maybe the next time around, Tom.
Yeah, it's getting close, lap 27, and depending on who you ask, all the people that haven't stopped yet will pit between probably 29 and 31.
Down to the festival corners. Good battle for position a little further ahead. Sperfico, Gonzalez, and Carpentier all within a couple of tenths of each other. They're running 8th, 9th, and 10th. Good early run today for Mario Haberfeld and Derek Walker's Cummins car. Haberfeld has moved up to 7th spot. Hasn't yet made his green flag, his first of 3 green flag stops. On the button with Junqueira in the Pacific Air car. Came second at Monterrey, Mexico. The time we were watching him a moment ago, it looks as though his right front tire may have a little bit of banding going on there.
Yeah, a little bit. You see it on the in cars on the straightaway. If you stay with that, but it hasn't affected lap time wise, and that was the thing I wanted to see with the alternate tires. They're near their pit stops, and the front 3 cars are still running in the 61 second range, the only cars in the field doing that. So the answer is the alternates are quicker, and here comes Bruno heading for pit lane. They're quicker, and they'll last a full fuel load.
28 laps up on the board. Bruno Junqueira started second. He's running second. Decides to make an early stop here. Not as early as some of the other teams, though, Jan Bikus. Planning on a lot of green flag running, I would say, from here to the end.
In fact, his teammate, the leader, is going to be here the next time around. What they're going to do is they're going to put on the standard tires now because it's the best comparison to find out if the alternate, and in fact, they added a bit of front wing. While he is sitting at 9.9 seconds, we're also hearing something about a caution as well.
Perhaps trouble somewhere on the racetrack. Haven't seen any indication of it yet. Flag stand still showing green as Junqueira comes off pit road and heads to the festival curves. Now, Tommy, he's put the harder tires on. Does that suit his driving style? Before we talk about that, here's Mario Haberfeld, who was on the move, climbing to 7th position. Now he'll make his first green flag stop in one of the 2 Reynards in the field, and you're thinking the Reynard may not be a bad choice here today.
Well, it's a little bit smoother, and it's not like the street courses. The ride height seems to be what affects the Reynard. If you can get the car down close to the ground, okay, Bourdais in. If the yellow had come out in between when Bruno stopped and Bourdais, Bourdais was sweating bullets there until he could get that car into pit lane.
Jan Bikus is there.
And of course, his teammate, just as predicted, is going to be stopping the 1 lap later. He is on the same strategy. What you see different, this is no chassis adjustments whatsoever, but they are waiting for all the fuel. This seems to be near eternity, 13.3 seconds. You would have thought that the fuel would go in more quickly than that, especially with the head pressure. There's a lot of fuel in these tanks right now. Surprised it took so long.
So he gave up 3.4 seconds in that stop on pit road to his teammate. That's way more than the original gap on the racetrack.
Yeah, it is, but him going a lap longer than Junqueira will build him almost that much time in the bank, because while Bruno was making his out lap on cold tires, Bourdais was probably making his fastest lap of the race on light fuel load and hot tires.
Watching Junqueira. After the stop, Bruno cycles back to 6th in the running order. It puts Paul Tracy out in front. It's been a tough weekend for Tracy. He'll stay on the racetrack. We showed you earlier how he spun at the end of second round qualifying yesterday when he thought he had a pole lap going.
This is really big. The fact that he's able to go 2 laps further than Bourdais and 3 further than Junqueira means he's getting excellent mileage, and he's running multiple laps with the hot tires. He very well, in that last lap was his quickest lap of the race, or the lap before was a 1:01.5. So him staying out like this, as long as he doesn't get a yellow, he is going to probably be in front of Bruno and maybe in front of both of those cars.
Well, Tracy trying to dig himself out of a hole. Meantime, Justin Wilson with the alternate tires on the MyJack Conquest number 34. He was up to third before the stop. Wilson qualified fourth, heading back out. That team's challenge is to do a better job on pit road for Justin Wilson. Tagliani has been on pit road as well. And the Johnson Controls car, Tag had a good day going. As we watch Wilson down into the festival curves on cold tires, as Tommy pointed out. There's some concrete down on the surface there where they've done some repair work over the years here at PIR. And that changes, of course, the grip that's available to these champ cars. Wilson starting to get the car back up to temperature, get the tires up to pressure here, and get back up to speed. Paul Tracy has stayed on the racetrack, now working lap 33. But the Forsyth Index team says they expect him next time around. The guys are up on the wall looking for fuel and for 4 tires on car number 1. This is just the 3rd time in Tracy's long career he's led the pack here at Portland.
And we've seen from the highlight films, he's ended up in the barriers a number of times. This whole section of course from turn 1 all the way to this next corner 8 does not suit Paul's style in terms of aggression. Aggression just gets you in trouble on that part of the course. So you just have to drive almost like with fingertips on the steering wheel because the car's on such a knife edge and low grip.
And you can see Tracy's tires showing some signs of wear now, 32 laps into the cycle. They will be changing for and fueling the Index Forsyth car.
This is a big stop for these guys. Going those extra laps, this is huge. They obviously feel like they got good mileage on those yellow flags early on. So we're going to watch to see where Bourdais is. Chris McClure.
The crew looking up the track as we wait the arrival of Paul Tracy. He got a couple of good laps in the 61s. So that's what they were hoping for. On the marks is he. Off come the tires. The alternates are going to be replaced by the primary tires. We'll watch the front of the car and see if they turn any of the wing adjustments. They have not. As they pull Dylan all the way up and away he goes. So a little over 10, but he got everything on board he wanted.
Bourdais goes by before Tracy can come off pit road. Our clock showing 11.3 seconds. The pit road time there for Paul Tracy at full stop. So not quite as quick as one of the stops we saw knocked off earlier by Bruno Junqueira. But as you say, Tracy able to stretch that window out quite a bit further.
I'll tell you, that is impressive that Bourdais and Junqueira were able to get their tires up that quickly. And I really expected it to be much closer than that.
Well, many of the leaders have been in now. Sebastian Bourdais cycles back to the head of the field. Junqueira trails by 1.17 seconds, and Tracy is shown third at Portland. At Portland International Raceway, alongside Tommy Kendall, I'm Rick Benjamin. Great to have you with us on Father's Day afternoon. I want to wish my dad down in Florida and my father-in-law also in Florida and all the dads across the land a very happy Father's Day. Action on the front straightaway. Race leader Sebastian Bourdais swinging to the inside of one of the MyJack cars. Bruno Junqueira has tracked down the leader. The 2 lead cars just half a second apart. Jan Beekes.
Well, you talk about Sebastian Bourdais, and we're looking at the Herdaz spare car. That was the problem for Bourdais' pit stop, is they could not get the fuel probe engaged into that Buckeye that you see here. They had a little trouble getting engaged. That's why he had a 13-second pit stop. The other thing you saw on pit road, you saw people going to the front wings to make an adjustment. The amazing thing, look how little, as I turn this, look how little the wing moves for every half turn. You can't even hardly see that there's a movement here. It's incremental, like a 1/4 degree for each half turn. But believe it or not, as a driver, one of these makes a huge difference on the racetrack.
And by adding in front wing, that's the opposite direction I thought the track would go. Usually the rear tires here and the rear grip is what goes away as the track gets hotter. Adding front wing basically sticks the front better. So Bruno called in, must have said the front isn't sticking well enough. Car's understeering in the middle of the corners. Give me a little bit more stick at the front. You saw when Bourdais got held up there behind Sparafico, Bruno pulled up right onto the back of Sebastian Bourdais.
But Bourdais able to stretch the lead back out to 1.1 seconds as they have open racetrack that last time by, working lap 39, closing in on halfway at Portland International Raceway. Let's go full throttle with Bruno Junqueira. Meantime, Michel Jourdain is making another stop. Chris McClure.
He just hits the marks, and it's up on the jacks as we come around the pit stand. Take a look. He's going back to the alternate tire. He's going to run a set of alternates right here in the middle of the race. Fuel is in, and away he goes down the pit road, pretty brisk, and he put on the softer tire.
Jourdain losing that lap after the first turn incident. They took the green flag, headed to the festival curves. Jourdain got the worst of it, got bounced up into the air, ended up in the gravel trap, lost a lap getting pulled out and refired, and had to make a caution pit stop as well. So he is still 16th, running on the alternate tires, 1 lap down from the leaders. So the tire choice here in Portland, certainly interesting. Alternate tires back as a factor here. For more on the choice of alternate tires, our Bridgestone Passion of Excellence. Here's Jan Beekes.
Technology has certainly made race cars faster, but the downside of technology is it makes the cars very close together. Gone are the days where the engine used to go away, or maybe your tires would go off at the end of the race, which would have cars going different speeds out on the racetrack. But Champ Car wants that. They want some passing. So one of the things they've done is they turned to their partner, Bridgestone, and said, let's come up with a tire, an alternate tire, that is about a second or more faster on the racetrack, give them to the teams just once in the race, and create some passing. Now, of course, the man who has to put this all together is Al Spire from Bridgestone. And now I would think that if you already have fast race tires, just pulling something out of the bag that's a second or so faster could be tough.
Well, actually in Champ Car now, Bridgestone is the sole supplier, so we've got a fairly conservative compound and tire as the standard one, and we can reach into our bag of tricks and get a softer compound that's faster, and that's what we have as the alternate tire here at Portland.
So the key is just the compound. You don't want to change the construction, right?
That's exactly right. If we change the construction on the alternate tire, it will give the engineers fits with all their other settings, so this is just a softer, faster tread compound.
Now what about the challenge of trying to identify it? One is to make it faster, which I know you can do. But what about being able to identify it from the stands?
Well, we put some special markings on the tire, actually an orange stripe up high on the sidewall, so hopefully at speed the fans will be able to tell when those alternate Bridgestones are on the track.
Well, at the moment, before these have actually run at Portland, it's just slide rules and calculators. But hopefully, in fact, they will be faster, and the races should be much more exciting.
And when to use the alternate tires. We ride with Justin Wilson, the MyJack cam out the back end of the 34. He's got him on now, Tom.
Yes, he does. And now we're heading down the front straightaway in the chicane. Watch the sidewall deflect. He goes to the right hand. You see the whole tire kind of shift this way.
Justin Wilson, the British rookie out of Formula One a year ago. Very impressive again, running fourth. Here's Ryan Hunter-Reay, who radioed in a while back and said he thought his rear tires were starting to give up. There's an indication.
Yeah, for sure. And I was expecting more of that when we were on board with Bruno. And when I said that he added front wing, that was a little surprising. But you can see in-car, other than the one time the car stepped out in turn 5, the back of that Pacific Air car was absolutely planted.
As we consider the heat today and track temperatures expected to be well above 130, there's another look at Hunter-Reay in car.
I think it was that last down change. Yeah. You know, when you click, it's clicking down 3 gears there, and the last down change adds a little bit more rear brake as he's turning in.
He says, I've had enough, boys. Put some new tires on this thing. Ryan Hunter-Reay, the winner in Milwaukee 2 weeks ago. Dominant run, went flag to flag from the pole. One of the best drives ever seen in the Champ Car World Series. A great drive today being turned in by race leader Sebastian Bourdais. He's led all the way. 43 laps complete, closing in on halfway at Portland International Raceway. The Bruno Junqueira has cut the lead down now to less than 1 second. Dog fight for 7th spot at Portland International Raceway. The Champ Car Grand Prix at Portland. With Tommy Kendall, Limerick Benjamin, Mario Haberfeld has come from 15th to 7th in Derek Walker's Reynard. That's the Cummins number 5. Now, Patrick Carpentier, Tommy, might have the fastest car right now.
Well, the lap times say that he does. That last lap was a 102 flat for Carpentier. And remember, more importantly, he's battling for 7th, but he really is much further up. He has one green flag stop to the good on everybody else. He's made 2 of his 3 mandatories. Everybody else in front of him has only made 1. So he's got 2 things going. He's got a very fast car. You see him with the push to pass button. He's going to try to get by Haberfeld, but he can't afford to get held up by him here. Closing on him. Going to be hard. He's too far back. But so he's got a clear fast car when he's on a clear track. But he also, if he gets a yellow between now and when Bourdais and Junqueira stop, which is another probably 15, 16 laps, he will cycle to the front of the field.
Haberfeld able to hold on to 7th spot for now. The key to the front straightaway, Tom, I'm assuming, is you've got to get a great run off turn 12.
Yeah, and turn 12, yeah, absolutely right. But it's not a clear-cut corner. It's not just a straight 90 degree. It opens up a little bit, and then it opens up further when you pass the spike where the pit wall is. So you've got a couple different stages to that corner. We'll get a look at it coming up here. It opens up a bunch, but it's not quite straight. So you're feeding the power in, but as the tires get worn, it uses up a lot of ground.
Haberfeld doing a great job in 7th spot. That's going to put a smile on Derek Walker's face, Chris McClure.
It has. He's been more than a passing observer here in the last couple of moments. Mario doing a terrific job holding on to 7th position, but that's a battle with 2 cars on different strategies. What does that bring to the fight?
Well, it confuses everybody for most of the race, but it all sorts itself out in the end. Mario's done a great job. Car's running really well, so it's just a matter of spending the least amount of time in the pits as possible.
Oh, we'll watch that battle. Meantime, we'll go down to the other end with Jan.
Well, to follow up on the situation for Patrick Carpentier, I spoke with Eric Zito, his engineer, and asked him about their strategy. They were thrilled the way it was working out because he's able to run so quickly if he's on his own. He's got a little trouble right now because he has the traffic that we've documented, but the real key to the strategy was to get him out by himself where he can run those quick laps. And I said, well, do you need a yellow? I said, well, we'd love to have a yellow, but believe it or not, this strategy is actually, I think, going to pay for us whether we have a yellow or not. We also had a pit stop for Ryan Hunter-Reay, who got off course, had said just previous to that the car was all over the place. They gave him a new set of Bridgestones, and he got out with everything and no damage.
Carpentier on the push-to-pass button, Tom.
Yeah, because they're going to have to revisit that. It's going to work out either ways. It continuing to work out is totally predicated on him not getting held up by Haberfeld. Haberfeld has cost Carpentier. Haberfeld is under no duty to get out of his way. But for Carpentier's strategy to work without a yellow, he needs clear track. He was over a second a lap quicker than he is right now, stuck behind Haberfeld.
Carpentier was running laps around 101. Now he's running laps around 103 as he's tucked in there behind Haberfeld as they continue to fight for 7th spot. Check a look. We showed you a moment ago the push-to-pass numbers up top. Carpentier has used up, well, a lot of his push-to-pass time. He's got 2 seconds of it left. He's got one more squirt, Tommy.
He's got one more squirt. If he uses it, even though the straightaway is longer than 2 seconds, it'll stay on. As long as you have 1 second left in the bank and you turn it on, it'll stay on for that entire straightaway. They don't want the car cutting out in the middle of the deal. As we look back, Allmendinger getting up close as they head into the festival corners. A little bit of that is the accordion effect, but it looks like he's closing on Wilson.
A.J. Allmendinger in the Roost Sport number 10 runs in 5th. Justin Wilson from MyJack Conquest in the 34 runs ahead in 4th spot. Justin Wilson has 44 seconds of push-to-pass time left. We watch that battle for 4th spot right now. Take a look here a moment ago. Allmendinger showed the nose of his car to Justin Wilson.
More than a nose. He was almost wheel to wheel, but he can't clear him. Wilson did the exact same thing with Tracy early in the race.
Then runs him wide in the next one. Great stuff. Great battling for 4th and 5th. Wilson, a young gun. Allmendinger, a very young American gun.
Yeah, these are the 2 most highly rated rookies. We heard Eric Bachelot during qualifying gush about Justin Wilson. Not a surprise. Formula 3000 champion. It was really surprising to me that he didn't get a serious F1 ride before the Jag Minardi thing last year, because he has talent written all over him.
Bourdais remains the leader, 1.17 seconds to the good over Bruno Junqueira. Jan Bikas.
With the teammates up front, I know you're close to pit stops, Brian Lyles. What about tire wear on such a hot day? Is it an issue?
No, the wear is not an issue, although with the heat, the tires at the very end of the stint tend to degrade very slightly, which is no surprise. It's very hot today. But the balance stays good, and really tires are not a deciding issue in the race at all.
Will you split your 2 cars again, 1 lap between the 2 teammates?
Yeah, we prefer not to have the 2 cars in together, obviously.
Thank you.
One of the key members of Sebastian Bourdais' team. Their driver has led all the way. Tommy working lap 52 now, past halfway, 42 laps remain. So Bruno Junqueira giving chase to Sebastian Bourdais, but he's got a second and a half to make up. We're at Portland International Raceway. Less than 40 laps to go at Portland International Raceway. Coverage of the Champ Car World Series Grand Prix of Portland. Moments ago, a pass made finally. Patrick Carpentier sneaking inside Mario Haberfeld at the end of the front stretch for 6th position.
Yeah, and he really stuffed it in there deep. Almost overshot it on the other side. This is a few moments ago. This is the second MyJack car of Sparaffico getting it wrong, and that actually, for a moment, looked like it was going to bring out a full course caution, which would have played right into Carpentier's hands, but Champ Car safety team got him refired with a local yellow.
So Sparaffico's on pit road, Chris McClure.
He's just headed, in fact, he's come to a stop, and now he stalls the engine as he tries to pull away. He got into the pits, and they're going to have to restart it. We're a couple of pits down with team owner Eric Bachelard. First of all, with Alex Sparaffico, what exactly was the situation as you know it?
Well, I don't know what they did because, I mean, right now we are with Justin here. He's being blocked for at least 5 laps by a back marker, and the officials are not doing anything. So I don't know what they're doing in the, in the control tower. This is crazy. I mean, we're racing hard and we are 4th in position right now, and we are being blocked for so many laps.
We're talking about Justin Wilson here. Now, you're on alternate tires with his car. Will you go with a second set of alternates? It seems to be working for you.
Well, we haven't seen that much improvement, to be honest, with these tires. And so, I mean, probably we're going to go with another, the hard compound at the moment.
We'll know for sure in just a couple of seconds. Thanks, Eric. Sparaffico has gotten away, and we're anticipating Wilson's next pit stop.
Justin Wilson with 55 laps on the board, 34 seconds behind the leader, running all alone on clear racetrack. Second spot belongs to Bruno Junqueira. He'll come to pit road first this time for the Newman Haas team. Jan Beekes.
And there was almost a change of plans the last time around. Sebastian Bourdais' team set up for a pit stop. I believe he's been on the radio saying that the tires have gone off, but he's going to try and stay in sequence. They are putting the standard tires on, so they're not going with the alternate. And at 10.4 seconds, you may have also seen at the back, what this team is famous for is one of the crew members rides the rear wing as he takes off, putting a little extra weight on those rear tires. They think it gives him more traction. It's quite the balancing act.
Give him a pair of roller skates, he can take a full lap.
Kind of like you do in the supermarket with the shopping cart. You give it a push, then you get up on top, push down on it, and then let go just in time as the car takes off.
Now Bruno Junqueira guaranteed he'd win the grocery battle in lap 1 today. Didn't work out. Now he's going to try to win the war, but he's got a long way to go after making that stop. Meantime, Sebastian Bourdais brings the McDonald's 2 car down pit road. He's led all the way so far. Let's get it back downstairs. Jan Beekes, he's headed your way.
And a change in strategy. He is not going with standard tires. He's going to go with the alternates. So 2 drivers trying different strategies. Obviously, they both tried each tire. They know which one they like. This time it appeared as though the fuel went in quickly. 9.2 seconds. That was a big heave-ho from the crew, but not a ride on the back wing for this car.
Good stop, though, certainly, for Bourdais and his bunch. Now we'll see what Paul Tracy does. He went 2 laps further to the first of his 3 green flag stops. Tracy now with the lead. The defending series champion, winner at Long Beach in the season opener, had a tough day yesterday, stuck that car into the tire barriers at the end of qualifying, took the back wing off, did some damage to the right front quarter. They put it back together. Obviously, it hasn't slowed him down now.
Yeah, it's actually the most competitive Paul's been in the last couple races. He really wasn't very quick in Monterrey, Mexico. He's far enough back here, even if he runs a few extra laps. He's been held up a number of times. He got within 5 seconds of Bourdais, but then lost 3 seconds getting around one lap car, and now he's being held up a little bit behind Tagliani just when he needs to be making the fastest laps of the race. So those 2 guys should be in pretty good shape relative to Paul.
Tracy dives into the first corner right behind Tagliani. Tagliani running in 7th spot at the Johnson Controls Low, the blue number 8. This is Tracy in the Index Forsyth number 1. The gap between he and Bourdais after the 2 pit stops for the 2 Newman Haas cars, 17.1 seconds. Tracy staying on the racetrack, working lap 59 of 94.
Now, on that last real close-up shot, I saw that Paul Tracy's visor is actually cracked open, which you don't see a lot, so that tells me that he's feeling the heat inside the car.
Now, will they dump a bottle of water on him when he comes in?
Probably not. I mean, that ends up sometimes backfiring on you. If it's really hot, you can kind of get poached in there. So just getting a little bit of airflow is helpful. You end up, sometimes you sweat so much. It might not be that he's overheated, but you sweat so much, those drops of sweat when you hit the brakes, 3.5 G's of braking the sweat flies off your face onto your visor.
Not what you want to see raining inside the helmet, you might call that. Let's take you back to what happened yesterday. Final moments of qualifying.
And I talked to Paul afterwards, and he said, the back end kicked out there. He says, but I just kept feeding the throttle, hoping I could save it because there was only 2 more corners to go, and I was up almost 2 tenths. That lap would have definitely put us on pole.
It didn't work out, though, because Tracy clobbered the tire barrier on B because they did a great job. Had to thrash, I imagine, to put that car back right for today.
They did. Actually, Paul said the car was not hurt that bad, but when you just showed that replay, you should have seen the reaction up and down pit road. A lot of people didn't know we were in a replay and thought that Paul had just gone off the racetrack. There was a huge panic down here as they're getting ready for Paul to pit.
And this is killing him being stuck behind Tagliani. His lap time of 1:03.0, a full second slower than he was running, and Bourdais and Junqueira were before their stops.
So Bourdais and Junqueira running in the 102.3 or 4 bracket right now. So they're gaining ground on Tracy each time around. He just can't get by. And it shows you how hard it can be, even when you have a speed advantage, to make a pass in one of these champ cars.
Yeah, and that's what the push to pass and the alternate tire is supposed to address, but still an issue.
Well, Patrick Carpentier has used up all of his time. Tracy's still got 41 seconds left.
Paul Tracy hits the marks, his second green flag pit stop of the event. The tires are off, the fuel is going in, and now they're just waiting for the fuel that's off the jacks, and away he goes. That'll clear the traffic situation on the track. The last several laps, he has been complaining bitterly about Tagliani being parked in front of him. Neil Mickelwright has been in animated conversation with the CART officials over that. They never got satisfaction, but now with the pit stop, it separates them on the track, and Paul can go back to work.
30 to go. Tracy cracks off a 9.3 second stop. Tommy Kendall, is that good enough to gain him ground?
No, they were losing a second lap. And that's one of those situations where you want to go as long as you can generally, but if a car's in your way like that and you're losing that much time, that might be the time to call an audible and say, you know what, we were going to go 4 more laps. Let's bring them in now so that we can minimize the damage. You have to kind of be willing to change horses midstream.
As Ryan Hunter-Reay goes by after making another pit stop. While we were watching some other action on the racetrack, let's show you what happened here on pit road. Justin Wilson and A.J. Allmendinger stopped together. Now, they were battling for 4th, and there was a drag race off pit road.
Here's a drag race at 50 miles an hour. They're both on the pit lane speed limit. They let the button off right there. Cold tires, light them up. Allmendinger swings way out to the side. Fortunately, there were no cars coming at speed down the track. And so they're having, and now this is a high-speed dice, but also on stone cold tires.
We watched for a moment earlier as Allmendinger thought about trying to stick the nose of his car inside Wilson's MyJack machine right after we left you there in the festival curves. Wilson, meantime, has gotten his tires heated back up. He's back on the hammer on the front straightaway.
And I can virtually guarantee you 10 years from now, both these guys will be big-time names in auto racing. So we have a pretty epic rookie duel on our hands this year.
As we show you the running order, Tracy 3rd, Carpentier 4th, and the number of green flag pit stops each driver has made. Remember, you have to make 3 stops here today. No pit windows anymore, at least at this point, according to the Champ Car World Series officials. They've decided to just require the 3 green flag stops. So that does add a new element of strategy into things here this weekend. Been very interesting so far. To recap where we are, Bourdais has led all the way. Junqueira 4.3 seconds back. Tracy, Carpentier, and Wilson the top 5. Carpentier the only driver on a much different pit stop sequence.
And now that now they're kind of in sync a little bit. They're going to make stops at different times, but everyone's made their 2 stops. So we're seeing how Carpentier's strategy has worked out. It's put him in 4th place without any yellows. So if you get a yellow at the right time in this last cycle, then he'll be in even better shape. But for right now, he's only 27 seconds behind Bourdais.
A.J. Allmendinger in the Roost Sport number 10 down the front straightaway, riding in 6th position behind Justin Wilson. Allmendinger, a rookie in the Champ Car World Series. 2 consecutive national championships coming into this year. He won the Barber Dodge Pro Series 2 seasons back. Last year, the Toyota Atlantics champion, and then up to Champ Car this year. And he's certainly showing a lot of signs of being a driver to contend with a great young American find. Working on Justin Wilson, the gap just about a 10th between the 2 cars. This is for 5th spot. Activity on pit road, we can hear, if not see. We watch these two worthies down the backstretch here at Portland International Raceway. 28 laps remain. Push to pass numbers. Bourdais has used 2/3 of his. Junqueira has saved 44 seconds, Tom, and Tracy saved 41. Now, does that help them at all? Patrick Carpentier has used up all of his push to pass time. Justin Wilson has used 44. And let me correct something I said a moment ago. Bourdais has led other than pit stops all the way. Tracy had taken the lead because he stayed out longer. He led for a couple of laps during the pit stop sequence. But when the cars have all been on the track together, it's pretty much been Bourdais' day. Alex Tagliani brings the Johnson Controls car to a stop. Chris McClure.
He's up on the jacks. The pit stop is nearly concluded. In fact, the fuel hose is away, and off he goes, Alex Tagliani. Now, this may rejoin him with Paul Tracy in terms of position on the track. We'll keep an eye on that because a little while ago they were involved in an argument.
Tagliani back up to speed into the festival curves.
And that is frustrating for a guy like Paul Tracy, who's lead, in the lead battle in third, and you have Tagliani, who's basically a lapped car.
Yeah.
Now, when they're battling for position earlier, we saw a situation where guys were out of sequence. They were battling for position, even though they were on different strategies. There, where Tagliani's a lap down, you expect a little more courtesy for a guy to get out of your way.
Tag ran third here 2 years ago, the Johnson Controls car. 1 year ago, 2003. Patrick Carpentier, we're told, is planning on stopping on his next lap. Tagliani down the backstretch here at Portland. We say backstretch because it's the backside of the racetrack, but if you saw the track map earlier, it's got a nice big sweep to it, kind of like Long Beach's front straight.
Yeah, very similar. It's listed as 2 corners on the track map, but it is flat out very easily.
Tagliani with the stop, still in 8th spot. 1 lap down to the leaders. Bourdais, Junqueira, Tracy, the top 3. Carpentier is 4th, makes his stop, throws a tear off. Jan Bikus will watch this one for us.
And it appears as though it'll be a time stop for fuel. One of the crew members has a big, long blue wicker bill, kind of like a big stick. Watch him hit the back of the fueler. As soon as they see enough fuels in the car, they will tap him, telling him to release because they do not need to fuel the car. There's the tap. 10.8. He is the first driver, at least the first driver towards the front, to make his final pit stop of the day.
And the reason they do the tap is usually the fueler fills it until he sees the fuel coming out of the vent hose. But because they don't need that much fuel, a full tank to get to the end of the race, they're doing it on time only. So they time the flow. They have a pretty good read on that. Then they do that's called a short fill.
A couple of top 5s in Carpentier's Champ Car career here at this racetrack. He was in 5th position when he came to pit road. 69 laps up on the board. Here comes Tagliani, running in 8th spot. Carpentier hoping to use pit stop strategy. Now he's got a lighter race car, so that will help him as we get into the final couple of dozen laps here today. 25 to go at Portland International Raceway. As we watch, Alex Bronte Tagliani has a great Father's Day story for us this weekend here at Portland.
I'm here in pit lane at the Herdez number 4 pit box, where Father's Day is a very special day for the Hunter-Rays. As you can see behind me, Nick Hunter-Ray is watching and supporting his son Ryan on once again a special day. On Friday, he was lucky enough to have the ride of his life in the 2-seater with Ryan. Let's go take a look.
That was great, Ryan.
Yeah, I like it.
I think the only thing that'll make Father's Day even more fantastic will be if Ryan Hunter-Ray is in victory lane today.
As we ride with Ryan Hunter-Ray, backside of the racetrack here at Portland, sitting 13th, 2 laps down after going off track earlier as his tires were going away. The Milwaukee winner trying to fight his way back into a good finishing position, because these drivers not only have their eyes on victory lane today, they've got the whole season, the long battle toward the championship in mind.
And this shows the incredible challenge of the Champ Car Championship. Ryan Hunter-Reay coming off one of the most dominant wins in history, and a total non-factor here, definitely struggling. So, I mean, to win the Champ Car Championship, it's not how good you are on your good days, it's how good you are on your bad days. And so that's where the top teams tend to have fewer down days. And this team, as it tries to get its act together, I should say get its act together, as it tries to move into that echelon, being good on all types of tracks will be the mark of how well they've done that.
Sebastian Bourdais has not put a wheel wrong. 71 laps complete, 23 remain here at Portland International Raceway. And Bourdais, other than on pit road, has led just about all the way. Junqueira almost 7 seconds back at Portland. Less than 20 laps to go at Portland International Raceway. The Champ Car Grand Prix of Portland with Tommy Kendall, I'm Rick Benjamin, Jan Bikus, and Chris McClure joining us today on pit road. Sebastian Bourdais has not put a wheel wrong all day, Tom, as we'd said. Final pit stops upcoming for Bourdais, for Junqueira, for the rest of the front runners.
And we talked about Patrick Carpentier and that alternate strategy, hoping for a yellow between when he made his last stop and Bourdais did. Well, that all goes out the window, because if you look back, there's Carpentier by spending that extra time behind Haberfeld, losing that ground. He's lapped by Bourdais. So if a yellow comes out now, he is trapped there, does not get to make up all that distance. So Bourdais is really home free, assuming he doesn't make a mistake and has a good stop here on this last stop. It doesn't matter if a yellow comes out or not. Carpentier, at least, is not a threat in that regard.
Watching Bourdais as he continues to lead. We showed you a moment ago the quickest race laps of the day. There's a bonus point up for grabs for that honor, and right now Carpentier has knocked off the quickest lap of the day. But if either Bourdais or Junqueira might be able to summon up a quick lap. The championship battle coming in today, very, very tight. Junqueira with a 2-point lead over Carpentier. So that bonus point, very important.
Yeah, no question about it. And it's funny to think Carpentier, he hasn't been spectacular, hasn't won a race yet, but still only 2 points out. And look at the ground that Allmendinger made up on Justin Wilson heading into the festival corners.
This is the battle for fourth spot. You're watching the MyJack view out the rear end of the 34 car of Justin Wilson.
And that's why he made up so much ground. Wilson was bottled up behind, I think that might be Haberfeld, having come out of the pits on cold tires.
Haberfeld back in 10th. He was up as high as 6th earlier today. This the battle for fourth spot. Junqueira stops. Jan Bikus.
Yes, and he has a brand new set of alternate tires because he had that penalty in qualifying. Wow! 7.8 seconds, and he has the faster tires. Let's get to Chris.
Well, Tracy is up on the track. He's away at 9.27 by my watch, so his third green stop is very, very nicely done.
Tracy up through the gears, heading toward the festival curves at the end of the front stretch in the Forsyth Index #1, emblematic of his national title 1 year ago in the Champ Car World Series. Tracy has to bend the wheel now if he's going to get up and challenge in the final 16 laps. Sebastian Bourdais headed down pit road, flips the visor up to get some air in the helmet. Jan Bikus, he's headed your way.
You talk about flipping the visor, it's also flipping the strategy. Remember, he has already used his alternate tires. He has no choice but to go to the standard tire. The good news is they are unused standard tires, or stickers as they're called. Not planning on making any adjustments. Just waiting for the fuel. It doesn't look, oh, the air jack, a little bit of a stick in the back. 9.2 seconds. That would have been almost as quick as Junqueira, but for some reason the air jack didn't release immediately from the back.
So Bourdais gives up about 1.5 seconds on pit road to his teammate.
Yeah, but you saw in that picture when we panned back to Carpentier, Bruno wasn't even that frame. So Bourdais had built himself a nice little cushion heading into that. That's what gives you that luxury. The crew can kind of take their time, not get flustered if something goes wrong a little bit, just calmly recover from that like they did.
Sebastian Bourdais looking for his second road course win in a row. Justin Wilson and A.J. Allmendinger, teammates Alex Spirafico, moves high and lets these two cars battling for fourth go as they head into turns 2 and 3. Wilson able to stay in front of Allmendinger. I'm not so sure Allmendinger doesn't have a faster car.
Yeah, it looks like it. If you stay planted on a guy through 2 tanks of fuel, it's a pretty good bet that he's a little bit quicker, but not quick enough that he's able to get past. He's used some push to pass, trying to. Wilson has 36 seconds left. Allmendinger only 13.
And up front, Bourdais and Junqueira. If Junqueira is going to have an opportunity, not only is he on softer tires, he's got 26 more seconds of push-to-pass time. But right now, Sebastian Bourdais is in the catbird seat. 16 laps remain here at Portland. Closing in on 10 laps to go at Portland International Raceway, the Champ Car World Series. With Tommy Kendall, I'm Rick Benjamin. A.J. Allmendinger gives up the chase for now for fourth spot, Tom. I'm a little surprised he stopped early like that.
Well, they might have done a short fill on the last stop to try to get around Wilson, and they might not have been able to go any further.
So Wilson holds on to fourth. Allmendinger drops back to sixth as the top 6 cars remain on the lead lap. Green flag stops, final ones of the day for the front-running cars. Up top, we'll show you the running order and the drivers who've made their stops. Justin Wilson, the only car among the top 6 that have yet to make their final green flag stop. Jimmy Vasser, Haberfeld, Gonzalez, Hunter Ray in 11th. Everyone has made 3. So Eric Bachelard's MyJack Conquest team on a little different schedule.
Yeah, I think they're kind of sticking with their original plan, which is to go the full tank on all 3 stops.
Watching Bourdais to the inside of Oriol Servia. These 2 cars for Newman Haas ran 1-2. Let's take you back a month to May 23rd. Bourdais and Junqueira battled at many different times during the race. There were different fuel strategies being employed. Late in the going, Bourdais put a wheel off, but it didn't deter him. Sebastian Bourdais bagging his first win of the season at Monterrey, Mexico. Trying to make it 2 on the season, Jan Beekes.
And with Craig Hampson, and we were just looking at Monterrey when things went perfectly for you. What about the situation here now that your teammate has switched to the alternates and you're back on the standards?
Well, because of the way qualifying went down for Bruno yesterday, he had 2 sets of sticker alternate tires, and we only had 1. For sure, the car looks like it was a little quicker on the alternates, so, I mean, I wish I had an extra set. But, you know, we have about 6 seconds in hand. Teammates aren't going to race each other dangerously, hopefully. So I think we should be okay. Probably the biggest problem right now is traffic. We're just having a terrible time with traffic. I think if Champ Car is going to have these sorts of rules where you're basically racing against the clock as opposed to just racing against cars in a line, we really need to do something about the traffic because, I mean, they're waving blue flags, but it takes 3 or 4 laps, and in those 3 or 4 laps, you lose 3 or 4 or 5 seconds, and you can ill afford those seconds when you're racing against somebody who's on a completely different strategy. So it's worked out okay today, but we've had a difficult time with traffic.
Now, you've talked about the traffic, but in Monterrey, you were concerned about rear tire wear. You actually had him slow down. Is that a concern here on a hot day?
Well, certainly we've been a little worried about the tires all weekend, and to be honest, we didn't practice all that much because we tried to save a lot of sets of tires to be in really good shape for the race. But surprisingly, it looks like the car has handled very well. The Bridgestone tires have held up phenomenally. They're a lot less worn than I expected them to. We probably were overly conservative on that strategy.
All right, I'll get you back to watching that traffic. Thank you.
All right, hopefully it turns out all right.
Well, the Newman Haas car is running 1-2. The McDonald's car Bourdais continues to lead. 10 laps to go here at Portland. And we will run the full 94 laps, we're told, by Champ Car World Series officials. 4.4 seconds back is Junqueira. At Portland International Raceway, Bruno Junqueira standing up in the seat with 7 laps to go. He sits second, 4.3 seconds behind leader Sebastian Bourdais. But Tommy Kendall, he's just knocked off the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, he has. He's put the clear track and the alternate tires and a little bit of push to pass. He's got kind of the potent cocktail for trying to track down Bourdais. But Bourdais has got a lot of real estate. He can afford to kind of give it back in little pieces.
Right now,
with only 6 laps to go.
That would give Junqueira the bonus point for quick lap of the day, which would certainly help him out of the championship battle. He is the points leader coming in here. The second spot today plus that bonus would give him 105. We're showing you how much time left each driver has of his push to pass 60-second allotment. Patrick Carpentier and Roberto Gonzalez, along with Nelson Philippe, have burned up all of theirs so far. Bourdais only has 9 seconds left, which might be good for 2 squirts, Tommy, because if he gets down within a second, he'd have 1 more straightaway to use. Junqueira, meantime, has got 23 seconds left.
And that's the kind of thing Bruno probably, you're not going to make up a big chunk of time in terms of closing in on Bourdais with push to pass. It's much more prudent, I would say, to save a little bit in case you hit some traffic.
Well, Paul Tracy rides third. He's got 41 seconds of push-to-pass time left. And for Paul Tracy, 22 seconds back of the lead right now. Is he settling for third today?
Whether he's settling is not something Paul tends to do. So I think it's probably indicative of the fact that that's all he's got. He really lost a lot of time before the second-to-last stop. When he needed to make some hay, he was stuck behind Tagliani for a long time. But Bruno, man, he just keeps lowering that. He's cut the lead to 3.3 seconds. So just at the very front of this shot, you can see Seabass out there, the nickname that Sebastian is starting to pick up. I don't think he's adopted it, but people are attaching it to him. Seabass Bourdais.
Well, he's hoping to reel in his second victory of the season here at Portland after the win in Monterey 1 month ago. Tracy, after wrecking at Milwaukee 2 weeks ago and having not a great day at Monterey, to me, this is a Paul Tracy building block toward trying to repeat the championship.
Yeah, and last year when he'd make something would happen when they dropped the car off the jacks there in Milwaukee, whatever the thing was, he was excellent at coming back in a big way the following weekend. And while this isn't a dominant win to reestablish himself, it's really what it takes. To win a championship, you got to take what the race can give you. Bruno is exceptional at that. Not as exciting to watch because he doesn't really go for the win all the time. He's really closing the gap, though.
Less than 3 seconds behind the race leader last time by the front straightaway. Now on the back part of the course, 90 laps complete. They're working lap 91, so there'll be 3 to go next time by. Still has that 23 seconds of push-to-pass time.
I'd be using that right now. They're coming up on Nelson Philippe.
Which ought to make things interesting. Junqueira's got the leader in sight now. Final corner to the front straightaway. 3 to go for Bourdais, who continues to lead. This is Junqueira in second spot as we bounce back to the leader in the McDonald's machine. This is a track that has given us 2 very close finishes. We showed you at the top of the broadcast. Michael Andretti barely nipped his dad Mario 18 years ago. And then in 1997, Mark Blundell and Gilles de Ferran. Blundell by hundredths of a second, his second career win in the Champ Car World Series. On board Junqueira, 3 to go, less than 3, 2.6 seconds the lead for Bourdais last time by. Lap traffic is ahead. Jan Bikas, what are they saying in the Newman Haas pit?
Well, they're telling Bruno Junqueira, you've got 3 more pushes on your push to pass. Use them. So they're coaching him through, trying to give him every opportunity. It's like the old days when we used to say, hit the button, use the button. Now he actually has a button to use.
14 seconds of time left for Junqueira. What does he do, Tom? The front straightaway, I think, would take 10 of those.
Well, I think he's going to save it until he gets up on Nelson Philippe. I think Bourdais has gotten around Nelson Philippe. But this is something, how many times have we seen this with Bruno Junqueira, where something will go a little bit wrong, and after the race he'll say, I had the fastest car. I can almost see it now. I had the fastest car. Everybody's out to get me. Oh, no, Bourdais has not gotten around Philippe. Look at this.
Bourdais trying to sneak by and does as they come off the festival corners there. And it's Philippe ahead in the blue car.
Lead 1.8.
Less than 2 laps to go at Portland. Junqueira in that white and maroon car. Let's ride with him. He sneaks inside. Philippe gets out of his way.
And that's something that's always more difficult as the leader. When you catch traffic first, if you're the first one to him, it's often harder to get by. Once the first car comes by, the lap guys know to look for others. And so that didn't hold Bruno up at all. It held up Sebastian a lot.
White flag will be out this time by. They're on the backstretch. Less than 2 to go at Portland. The Newman Haas mates battling for the win as they did 2 races ago, a month ago in Monterrey, Mexico at Fundadora Park. White flag is in the air at Portland. Leaders heading to turn 1. Bourdais by 1.5 seconds over Junqueira. Hard to make up that much ground in 1 lap.
Very hard. There's a big gaggle of traffic ahead of Bourdais, but it's far enough off that he's not going to catch it.
Junqueira will throw everything he has at it, though. Bruno, the points leader, coming in, still without a win in 2004.
I don't know. He's catching those cars quickly. There's a slow one. I think Bourdais is going to catch it. Might be Sparafico.
Alex Sparafico running 14th, 4 laps down. Leaders on the backstretch. This is Bourdais out in front. Other than on pit stops, he has led just about all the way today. Tracy led a few laps during 1 pit stop cycle. Bourdais bidding for a second win of the season. Final corner, heading to the checkered flag. Again, the Newman Haas team will run 1-2, this time at Portland International Raceway. Sebastian Bourdais bags his second Champ Car World Series win of the season. Bruno Junqueira runs second. Paul Tracy, 30 seconds further back, will come across the line in third. Patrick Carpentier should score fourth. The celebration in the Newman Haas pit area. A great weekend for that team. Bourdais with his second win. Junqueira will maintain the points lead, but the team still wants to go to victory lane. Not as excited down there. Bourdais with the visor up, waving to the fans here at Portland International Raceway. When we continue with coverage of the Champ Car World Series, we'll talk to the winner here at PIR. As Sebastian Bourdais rolls to victory lane, Tommy Kendall, the start may have given him the victory.
It really did. In spite of Bruno guaranteeing he would lead lap one, the new rules where the leader has to cross the start-finish line first. And with the start-finish line so close to turn one, Bruno couldn't really try to jump the start, be on the outside, really wasn't much choice.
Resulted in a bad day for Michel Jourdain, who got bunted into the gravel trap there and lost a lap early. Bourdais came around, took the victory honors, waving to the fans here at Portland International Raceway, and created a serving of donuts for the fans here at the head of the front stretch as the rest of the field went by. Just a moment ago, Bourdais celebrating by spinning the McDonald's car a few times, laying down some great tire smoke here. His second victory in 4 starts this season. In victory lane, Jan Beekes.
Getting the congratulations from team owner Paul Newman. Fantastic drive, Sebastian. It looked to me like the start was the key. Your teammate had guaranteed he would lead the first lap, but you proved him wrong.
Yeah, well, we knew it was going to be difficult for him to do that because he couldn't cross the start-finish line in front of me. It was a new rule since the beginning of the season. And I'm really pleased because it's a great win for Newman Haas Racing. We've been pretty unfortunate in Milwaukee. Now we're back in the scene and looking good with the McDonald's car.
Was that a case where Bruno was just putting a psych job on the other? I mean, do you two talk about it before the race and plan out a strategy in the first corner?
No, we did not too much talk about that. We had a briefing on the start with the starter this morning, and we pretty much knew what we were going to do. But the option tires that Bridgestone brought were a bit faster, and I have to say that it was tough for me because I had only one set. It was scuffed. Bruno was on brand new sticker at the end with it, and he was a bit faster, so I had to stay cool in the car.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's get to Chris McClure with Junqueira.
Bruno, at the start, you didn't quite get there, and it sort of seemed to settle things right from that point.
Yeah, on the start, was close with Sebastian, but I couldn't get by him, and that's the way it goes. I mean, I couldn't get by him, and I just followed him the whole race. It was okay.
At the end, why did you stop before Sebastian?
I mean, the Newman Haas team decided to make a strategy that not 2 cars on the pits at the same time, and who is behind will stop 1 lap earlier. But that's okay. I mean, I couldn't get by Sebastian. I was a little bit fast in the end. He was fast in the middle of the race, but we were very equal. It was a matter who got the turn 1 of the first lap in front.
Well done.
Thank you.
Back upstairs.
So Bruno Junqueira runs second for the second consecutive road course event in the Champ Car World Series. Point standings will come up in a moment, but first let's take you through the running order. Bourdais, Junqueira, and Tracy. Patrick Carpentier runs fourth. Tagliani soldiers on to 7th ahead of Jimmy Vasser. Top 10 for Mario Haberfeld.
And that's a good result for him.
Gaston Mazzacani with a pretty good run today. His second race back after a 2-year layoff. Michel Jourdain, after that early incident on lap 1, gets credit for 14th spot. So, heading to Cleveland in 2 weeks, Junqueira maintains the point lead. Carpentier now 6 back.
Tell you what, Carpentier looking like not much of a factor at the day started. That team did a brilliant job on the alternate strategy, even without the yellow, which would have made it a slam dunk, and pulled him all the way up to 4th, kept him close to Sebastian in the points.
Mario Dominguez wrecked early. He was the second, or actually the first car out, along with Rodolfo Levine. He drops to 7th in the standings, ahead of Tagliani and Allmendinger and Michel Jourdain. So a difficult day for that team, but the season-long war, the chase for the Champ Car World Series Championship continues in 2 weeks. Burke Lakefront Airport on July 3rd on Saturday, and we'll be with you, of course, right here. So a very interesting day. Newman Haas with their second consecutive road course 1-2. Clearly the team to beat in the early stages of the 2004 Champ Car World Series season. Well, thanks for joining us for our coverage today of the Champ Car World Series from Portland International Raceway. We will be back. Hope you can join us in 2 weeks on July 4th weekend for coverage of the Champ Car Grand Prix of Cleveland at the Burke Lakefront Airport Circuit. Very fast racetrack in Cleveland, Ohio. For Tommy Kendall, Jan Beekes, Chris McClure, and Bronte Tagliani, I'm Rick Benjamin. Thanks for joining us on Father's Day, and so long from Portland International Raceway.